guys, how we doing? It is Coster here from River City Vape Company Fort Dodge, coming at you with another Vape-Ucation. Today, we're going to be discussing the differences between RDAs, tanks, and RTAs, giving you the pros and cons of each so that way you can decide what's best for you. So, for a lot of people, there's a lot of different options that they're looking for in their atomizers. Some people want cloud, some people want flavor, some people want both, some people want something that's just easy to use, some people want something that's good to tinker on. It all comes down to what you want, and that's why we're making this video today, to show you exactly what the differences are so that you can find exactly what you want for your vaping experience. So, starting off, I'm going to talk about the easiest to recognize, use, and understand out of all three kinds of atomizers, and that is the tank. So, the tank is pretty simple to use. It's just a glass around your coil that keeps juice flowing to your pre-made coil so that way you don't have to continue dripping it. And they're the easiest to use as the coils are already pre-made for you. You don't have to spin them. They're already wicked and then you just gotta pop them right in there. So they're the easiest to use and they're the easiest to maintain. Now, on a scale of 1 to 10 for cloud and flavor, I'm gonna give it like a solid 5 on both because it's kind of gonna waver up or down on that scale depending on what tank and what coil you have. But I have found on most tanks, you're not gonna get the greatest flavor, but you're not gonna get none, and you're not gonna get the greatest cloud, but at the same time, you're not gonna be getting almost none at all. A lot of people will get the bigger coils that have a lot more inside of them to get bigger clouds, but at the same time, that's not gonna give them all the flavor that they need, so I still rank it around a midway. Some of the cons of having a tank are it's not as cost effective. You're gonna be spending a little bit more on coils each month, between $5 a week to $10 maybe even a week, depending on what kind of coils you use. Usually 1 week to 2 weeks is your standard run of the mill on the coils. So you're gonna have to spend a little bit more on those compared to the other atomizers where your coils last for 3 months to maybe 6 or even a year, depending on what coils you're using.
Next, we're going to talk about RTAs. RTAs are going to be kind of like a fusion between your tank and your RDAs. They're a rebuildable deck with a tank set up so that way you don't have to drip your rebuildable deck. So how these work is you're going to have your clamp system that's going to be enclosed so that way the juice doesn't just flood your coils and it's going to flow through the wicking holes. Now, some people will have issues with leaking on RTAs, and 9 times out of 10, it's because those wicking holes for the juice aren't fully stuffed with cotton. So, on a 1 to 10 for cloud and flavor, I'm going to give it between a 7 and a 10, because these atomizers, they can completely change up how you vape depending on what build you have in there. You could have a build that gives you a lot of flavor and no cloud. You could have a build that gives you a lot of cloud but no flavor. It all just kind of depends on what you're using. So it kind of ranges on what build you have in there. Now, some pros of using an RTA is you still don't have to drip it. It's going to still have that tank on there, so that way you're going to have a little bit longer before you have to refill. Another pro is that it's a little bit more cost effective than a regular tank, being that you're using rebuildable coils that can be cleaned and reused for an extended period of time. A downfall, as I said earlier, is a lot of people have the leakage from improper wicking. Now, RTAs do take a little bit of getting used to. The wicking is the key. Another downfall is it has that glass tank, like I said with the tank earlier, has a little bit of a chance to break, but you can use glass protectors to decrease your chance of that. And there's also some RTAs that use a stronger material than glass, such as a Pyrex plastic, so it's a little bit harder to break.
And lastly, we have my personal favorite, which is the RDA, a rebuildable drip atomizer. So a rebuildable drip atomizer is essentially, it's like an RTA with no tank. You have to drip these yourselves. So with that being said, some of the pros of having an RDA is, like the RTA, your coils are gonna last a little bit longer. It's a little bit more cost effective because you can re-clean them and reuse those coils for a long period of time. You also don't have to worry about glass breaking unless you're using a glass-tipped RDA. It's usually just a metal cap, so if you're like me and you're klutzy, it's a little bit less breakage value for you. Some downsides of having an RDA is you're gonna have to drip it a little bit more often. It doesn't have that juice well, so it's gonna take a little bit more juice. It also has a chance of over dripping. It's something a lot of people run into when they first go into an RDA, which means you're still gonna have a little bit of leaking until you get used to
what the proper amount of liquid is for your setup in your RDA. Another pro to having an RDA is the customization. If there's something that you want to do with your vape, you can do it. You just got to change your build. Same thing with the RTAs. And then on that note, another downfall is they're a little bit harder to work with, unlike a tank, because you have to get these coils unless you're using pre-spuns. It takes a little bit more technical knowledge. And I would also rank RDAs on the same scale as RTAs, just because of the fact that they're so customizable that you can change up whatever you want with them. So that's kind of in the same area, about 7 to 10, somewhere in there, depending on how you're building on it. But yeah, that's all there is to the 3 simple kinds of atomizers. Thank you for watching. This is Koster, and we'll see you